going on, guys? Want to just take a few minutes to specifically talk to you, our Kid Zone coordinators. This past week, have spent a lot of time in additional prayer, spending some time fasting and praying about a lot of things, but specifically praying for all of our leaders. I've been praying for each one of you, and over this past week, I really came to realize how good of place we are with some of our leadership right now. If you look at our team, um, we have a really quality coordinator and assistant coordinator and operations coordinator in each one of our three services. That's a level of stability with three solid adults in the room at every weekend service that we've never had before. So um, that level of stability is really something that um, you can't replace with anything else. We could add a bunch of young, inexperienced people and lots of energy, but the stability that comes with having each one of you in the room and the operations coordinators, it's amazing. So grateful for each one of you. I think that each one of you is just an enormous part of what we're doing in the lives of kids and the teenagers that we're working with. I appreciate you so much. Um, Also, spending some time just praying about what 2018 holds for Kid Zone and what this should look like. And really, my heart for this coming year is developing people, giving them opportunity, and releasing them to do what God has called them to do. That's really always been my heart. That's something that I always lean towards in ministry. Um, just a quick verse. This is in Ephesians 4. We've heard this a million times. Now, these are the gifts Christ gave to the church: the apostles, the prophets, the evangelists, and the pastors and teachers. Their responsibility is to equip God's people to do his work and build up the church, the body of Christ. I believe that this really applies to us. This applies to me. And my goal is to release people to do what God is calling them to do. And that happens on many different levels. It happens on the kids level, the 5-year-olds that are in Kid Zone, all the way up through the adults that are serving in ministry. We want every child to be able to find the calling that God has for them. And we want to help them take quality steps in the direction of the calling that is unique to them, that God gave them. And that's also very important for our teenagers that we're leading and everybody. So this coming year, I really want that to be a focus. I think that our job in the children's ministry is as much about investing in the leaders that we have as it is investing in the kids. Those two things are equal in my mind. If we do one and not the other, we're really missing something. So if we're doing a great job investing in the kids and the kids are having a great experience, but we're not training and releasing our leaders to do what God has called them to do, I think we're missing a really big part of that. So this has just been something that's on my heart this past week. I think that there's really three things that we need to do as a leadership team, as the core leadership team of Kid Zone. We need to, number one, give people the opportunity to do what God's calling them to do. And that involves getting a lot of new people in. The second thing is training and equipping them, getting them ready to do what God's calling them to do. And then number three, actually releasing them to do what God's calling them to do. Just a quick story. This past week, I approached an eighth grade boy. His name's Brandon. He's not always the kid that shines in ministry. He sometimes has gotten himself into trouble. I remember when he was in Kid Zone as a kid, and he's a goofball at times. But he's always been somebody that I think has been overlooked. And was just praying this past week, and I felt like, man, I want to get him plugged in. Not because he has a lot to offer right now as a leader, but I think he needs this personally. Now, understand the balance. I don't want to bring somebody into Kid Zone that's going to be a poison or to take away from the experience, and he's not that. But he needed an opportunity. So last Wednesday, I went and tapped him on the shoulder when he was in the service. It was the Johanna service. I'm like, hey man, let me talk to you afterwards. And he looked at me like, oh no, what did I do now? And I affirmed them, hey, no big deal. Just want to talk to you about you potentially getting involved with Kid Zone. I talked to his parents later on, and they were all on board. But his response to me kind of shook me a little bit because how he feels in church is that he doesn't have a place and that he's constantly being pushed away or getting in trouble. And I wanted to break that mentality in his life. I want him to know that God has something special for him. God has a purpose for him, and there's something unique that God has made him for. Um, and the church can use him. He has a lot to offer. So this past week, on Saturday morning, he was here all day serving as an Upward referee. Melissa asked him to get involved with that. He stayed between Upward and Kid Zone, and he helped clean up the gym. And he stayed through the Kid Zone service and started to learn some tech stuff. He's not ready to lead a group, but he's going to get involved with tech, and he's learning everything that he can. He came up to me. On Sunday when I saw him again, he's like, "Hey man, can I do that again? Can I do that next week?" Just hungry for something. I want to give, especially our young people, the opportunity to step into ministry and to add some value to what we're doing here. They have a lot to offer, and everybody has something unique. And I want to make sure we're not overlooking anybody. And I never want anybody in the church to feel like they don't have a place. So I think Kid Zone is an amazing opportunity for us to do that, to release people to do what God has called them to do. So again, what we want to do is we want to, number one, give opportunities. That's just bringing people in, getting a lot of new people on board. Pastor Sarah and I are going to be working on doing that. The second thing is training and equipping. This is key. If we don't actually give them the resources and the tools and the training that they need to be effective, we're going to lose them. So we want to set everybody up for success. And then the third thing is just releasing them to do what God is calling them to do. Sometimes that is within Kid Zone, and sometimes it's outside of Kid Zone. Looking at a couple of people, we just released Paul Holland, who's an amazing leader, went on a missions trip to New York, and now he's serving there doing missions work. He got a job there. We were able to send him out, and his first ministry opportunity came in Kid Zone. We gave him the opportunity over the last couple of years, and he's been very faithful. And now he's able to do that full time because somebody said, "Hey, Paul, why don't you get involved in Kid Zone?" There's a lot of opportunities for us to do that. I remember there's a young guy named Toasty. His real name's Eric. We've always called him Toasty. He always told me, "Hey, Pastor Joe, you're the first person that believed in me enough to give me an opportunity in ministry." He went on to be a missionary in China and is doing some great things and serving God. So let's not overlook that. Let's give people that opportunity. And really understand that one of our primary focuses is giving people that opportunity to serve. In addition to doing kids ministry, I think we do that together as a team, and with our young people, it's such a key thing that we have been doing. I think we're doing a great job with that. Want to just spend a minute and give a quick snapshot of where we are in each one of our services. Saturday nights, as we look forward, I want to look forward 12 months from now. In 12 months, we're going to be losing Pam and Patrick. So we're going to, Pastor Sarah and I are developing a plan to bring in another service coordinator. Pam and Patrick are going to be going to the Mount Nebo campus. Excited for them. Again, another opportunity to send somebody. I believe they're considering working with kids or potentially adult areas. That's still a little undefined, but we're going to have to look to fill that spot. Our teenagers have been really solid. The services have been great, very infrequent, which is pretty typical for a Saturday service. But that service is going really well. The other thing is the 9:30 service. This is probably our most stable service. Some of that is that we've developed this really good pipeline of middle schoolers that want to go to the 11:15 service and go to the special middle school service specifically for them, but they also want to serve. So we have a ton of 6th, 7th, and 8th graders that are there, which has created a really good pipeline and helped to fill those staffing positions. And we're fully staffed in the 9:30 service. And I think that this is actually a service where we can raise up leaders and send them to other service and begin to do that. So we're actually making a shift. We're moving Kara out of the 9:30 service to the 11:15 service because we have a pretty big need there. The 11:15 service is probably our service that just needs a little bit of boost of some new people. Additionally, we're going to be losing Sean this coming year. He's going to be going away to college to continue to pursue ministry. Excited for him, proud of him. So we want to continue to do that. So those are just some things that we want to be aware of. I think if we all have the same goal where we're constantly giving new people opportunity, investing in them, sending them to do the ministry that God's calling them to do, I think a lot of the other stuff takes care of itself. But understand that one of our primary purposes is to invest in those leaders. So a challenge to each one of you, I'd like for each one of you, including myself, to identify 3 people that you are intentionally investing in and pouring into. and developing in some capacity. Now, obviously, we all have different people that we're overseeing and we're a direct report to them. So, for example, you might be overseeing all the boys' leaders or all the girls' leaders, and you may have 6 of them. But I want you to identify 3 specific people that you want to pour into and help to develop for them to get to the next level. It might be a brand new leader that's just getting involved in Kid Zone and they need to be fully trained. It might be someone that's been around for 4 or 5 years that you want to pour into and help to go to the next level. But I'd like for you to just identify those 3 people, make them a regular part of your prayer life, to pray and declare things for them that God has for them, and then also to strategically invest in them to help them take good steps. Probably an ideal thing to do is to identify um, a goal for them in the next 6 months. In the next 6 months, you'd like to have this person where they are now move to an identified place. So, for example, a Josh Nuschler, who we just added to the 11:15 service, came for the very first time. I'd love for him to be a fully functional small group leader, probably in the next 2 months, and be able to lead his boys and eventually start to take on some responsibilities with presenting in 6 months. Those are some things that you can really identify. I'd like for you to do that with 3 people in your service, and share those with the rest of the group. You can send those to me and Sarah, and even the rest of the group if you want to do that. Love you guys. Looking forward to a great weekend. It's going to be awesome. Really excited coming off of this fast. I feel like it's just been a really good, refreshing time for me personally. Hope you've had that too. All right, I'll see you guys soon.